Live once again at Sproul Plaza and tells us this all started as an Occupy-style protest over tuition and fees.
Well, the demonstration at Cal started as a noisy but peaceful protest march through the streets of Berkeley. Thousands of students and some community supporters marched down Telegraph, stopping to protest at a Bank of America branch. Students complain banks are not paying their fair share of taxes while their tuition keeps going up.
Hi, my name is Linda Lai, and I'm a staff attorney at the ACLU of Northern California. Last fall, we saw an amazing movement called Occupy sweep the country, and this brought out people into the streets in expressing their views, engaging in First Amendment activity, protesting, gathering, associating, exchanging ideas in a way that we haven't seen in a generation.
Move along, train. Heavy love. Occupation's coming, and it won't be long. You're gonna carry this movement on.
The police response to Occupy was also something we hadn't seen in a generation. An amazing, brutal crackdown using excessive force in far too many instances on people engaged in peaceful protests. They erected some tents on Sproul Plaza. It had not even been up for a night, so there had not been any camping at the time. These were symbolic structures expressing, communicating a message of solidarity with the Occupy movement and the notion of occupation, reclaiming public spaces. And yet, we saw a very brutal crackdown. UCPD with other law enforcement agencies, I believe it was the Alameda County Sheriff, swept in and started beating students with batons. The students were doing nothing but engaging in peaceful protest. There is absolutely no justification for just beating students in the way that numerous videos captured that day.
Developing news right now. KTU's Ken Wayne is live at Sproul Plaza, the birthplace of the free speech movement, where both sides are bracing right now for another confrontation. Ken.
Well, Julie, the confrontation has just happened. You can see behind me, riot police are on the steps of Sproul Plaza in front of Sproul Hall. There's probably about 50 or so officers lining the steps in front of the hall. And there are several hundred demonstrators that are out here. About 20 minutes ago, police moved in and took about a half a dozen tents that were set up over in the area where you see a tree near the building. Batons moved in and started punching with their batons to break apart a human chain. People had formed a line linking their arms to try to protect the half a dozen tents that had been set up earlier today. Police had warned them and said that the tents had to come down. They were given 10 minutes notice to disperse the area or face arrest, and after 10 minutes, police in riot gear moved in, punched a hole through that human chain, and took down the tents that were placed near Sproul Hall.
This was this bizarre formulation that somehow by linking arms, they were not nonviolent. When you link arms, you can't use your arms to hit the police back. When you link arms, you are inherently signaling a message of, one, solidarity with your fellow protesters, but also nonviolence.
We must continue to delve deeper into the philosophy of nonviolent resistance. That is something about this method that has power.
It reflected a sad refusal to acknowledge the history of the civil rights movement and the time-honored tradition of linking arms as a gesture and symbol of peaceful protest. Indiscriminate force used on crowds of peaceful protesters. This is a violation of the Fourth Amendment, prohibitions against excessive force. It's also a violation of the First Amendment. There is no more onerous a way to crack down on speech, but to use the brutal force of the police to crack down on protesters. That is certainly a very effective way to censor. It's also a very unconstitutional way to censor speech.
"47 years ago, as you know, we were graced with the eloquence and the power of Mario Savio's words from these steps. And they were words that echoed and ricocheted across America, words about the importance and centrality of freedom of speech and assembly and freedom of expression and social justice. And those words continue to live on. In fact, the sentiments and words that Mario Savio expressed 47 years ago are as relevant, if not more relevant today than they were then.
There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
Why are you hitting me? You're hurting him! Stop it! You're hurting him! Shame on you! You're hurting him!
And you know and you understand how important it is to fight the bullies, to protect the powerless, to make sure that people without a voice have a voice.
Education's coming, it don't belong.